Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 103 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is David Howe.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
And we have a very special guest with us on this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Vanessa Fernandez joins the podcast. How you doing, Vanessa?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course,
Again.
of course. Yes, it's very good to have you on for the second time. We have you here because we're talking about the wild week of Pokemon news that we had this past week, along with the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. It was Pokemon Day on this past Saturday. We're going to be doing a little bit of reminiscing about the 25 years that Pokemon has been on the planet, and and all the news that we got from the Pokemon Presents announcement that we got. Very
Are you sure that's how it's pronounced?
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Pokemon Presents. I think we all got some gifts. Lots to talk about there. This is a very Pokemon centric episode. We the three of us are famously not super big Pokemon heads, which is why you're here, Vanessa.
Yay,
you're going to be schooling us on the Poke ways. But other than that, we got lots of news to talk about as well before we get to that topic, including some games that we'd recently been rumoring about that have been since confirmed. Some news about E3. There was a pretty terrible state of play from PlayStation, and lots more, including two of my favorite games of all time. I'm not going to spoil what they are because I'm going to make you listen. Other than that, how are we doing, everybody? We have an okay week since the last time we all talked.
Yeah, I'm feeling more normal.
Good.
Or more COVID normal, I guess.
Right.
Like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Good. I've been trying to get a vaccine. I fall into the 1B category. Thanks, pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
And I'm in a Slack channel and following Twitter accounts just to get a vaccine because it's such a shit show.
Yeah.
Glad we got him, but it's Wild West. It's like I'm trying to get a PS5 or something.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been starting the vaccine hunt as well. I did some math recently, found out that I am technically obese. So what up? your boy's getting on that list, baby. Whatever it takes. I've just been chowing down the past few days to get a vaccine. That's what's going on.
Like,
That's what I tell myself.
You say your boy like I should yes and that, which I'm like, yeah, dude, hell
Yeah,
fucking
you're
yeah.
obese.
Hell yeah.
Well, I was talking to my dad about it. He's like, you can get one if you're obese. I'm like, I don't think I want to know if I'm obese. My dad's like, let me crunch. He's like, let me crunch the numbers for you.
You are.
No, I was like, no matter what happens here, I lose this fight. How you doing, Vanessa? You been having an okay week?
Yeah, just back to work doing the Elder Scrolls thing.
Very good. Yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
IT for them, is that right?
Tier 1 support.
Tier 1 support. Very good. Very good.
Mhm.
Do you find that to be fulfilling work? You can say.
Yes.
You can say whatever the answer is.
No, it is. It is. I've just been really honest with myself that I'm pretty unfamiliar with like Western studios and Western gaming
Right.
for like the
Right.
majority of my life, but it's still really easy for me to like lean into, talking with like gamers and MMO people in general.
Hell yeah.
So, it's definitely given me stability since March 2020, honestly. So that's where
Yeah.
I've been.
Yeah, very good. Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, if I ever get stuck in Elder Scrolls Online, I'll shoot you a text. Get that free support.
Well, before we get into the news and rumors, just wanted to remind all our listeners that we are experimenting with video, and come check out our YouTube of the video of the podcast. Fingers crossed that this is all still working. It has been the last week or two.
Ironing out the kinks.
And as we iron that out, let us know if you like that. We'd love to hear from our listeners. So, let us know if you have any thoughts on today's episode. Also, we're doing a listener question segment nowadays. So please send us questions and check that out. And then also a reminder, just sort of FYI, it's now March. It is March 2021, which is kind of crazy as an aside. But that means that Mario is going to die very soon. And this is your last chance to buy the Super Mario 3D collection game, All-Stars, and to play some of the Mario 35 game.
If you have any levels that you've been dying to upload to Mario Maker 1, this is your last month.
If there's anything you really want to tell Mario before he dies, now's the time.
Anything you want to strap to his body as Nintendo shoots him into the sun, now is your last chance. Get the game and watch.
Yeah. But we'll talk about news and rumors then.
Let's do it.
A couple of things, like David said, we've been talking about the last week or two. There's rumors of Tony Hawk coming to the Switch, and it really seemed like it was going to last week, right before we recorded. And then they announced that it is coming. So the Tony Hawk remake is coming to the Switch. It's a remake, right?
It's a remake of 1 and 2. In a package.
That's confirmed coming 2021 according to the Nintendo website. So sometime this year.
From the PlayStation 1 titles?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming to Switch this year, along with like PS5 and Xbox Series S upgrades for it or whatever. I think the only downside is that I'm pretty sure it's a locked 30 FPS on the Switch, where it's obviously running at 60 on the beefier consoles. So that's kind of a shame for this game, because I feel like it'd be a lot of fun to play at a super high frame rate, but I think it's worth it this is a game I'll want to play on the toilet. So I'm excited for this.
Too bad for Skatebird, by the way.
Hey, Skatebird's now got like a couple months to come out and be like the only major skateboarding game on the Switch.
Well, yeah, they better hurry it up. Star Wars Republic Commando, which is also another old game that heard some leaks about, is definitely coming to the Switch. It was announced for April 6th, so that's pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's also like an Xbox game, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
I think so. I think it was maybe on GameCube too, if I'm not mistaken. Shooter. We're very excited about it, as you can tell.
There's also been news coming out that E3's in-person event for 2021 is definitely canceled. I thought we already kind of knew this, but this has been making the rounds that according
that's summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would have been in June, and they have announced a digital event that is going to take place as I understand it. And this kind of came about from, I guess, Los Angeles city documents that were published that confirmed that it's not happening, which I think, again, they had already said they were going to do a digital event, but maybe they didn't say in lieu of, they just said they were doing a digital event. So,
yeah. I mean, if it took them like this long to even talk about that they wanted to do a digital event, there's no way in hell they were going to get a physical thing going. And we don't know what it's going to look like in the summer. I mean, there's a lot of...
It's interesting because I feel like they have to like stay on the same beat as maybe like Tokyo Game Show, and like the Olympics are gonna happen, I think, in Tokyo this year, and or they're aiming for that, right? And like Tokyo Game Show's in September, so interesting. Yeah,
we gotta get a lot more vaccines. We gotta get the Pfizer, John Seneca vaccines out there right now.
Well, if you're looking for a vaccine, I got a Slack channel you can subscribe to in order to save your life.
Sign up everywhere.
Forget about the Switch Headz Discord. Join the Slack channel. It's the new hot spot for gamers.
Yeah. Well, just on that note, it just feels like the whole of COVID has never been. We've never been able to make plans for things, and so that's not over yet. You know what I mean? Like, there's this vague feeling of summer, fall, maybe things will be better with the vaccine.
Well, that's what we thought 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, anything else on
back
E3
to reality? Goes gravity. No, I'm good. I'm still not convinced that a digital event is going to happen either. You know what I mean? If like Summer Game Fest is still happening and people can do that like for free, you know, I'm not convinced that everybody's going to do it. I'd love to see it. I don't want E3 to die. But yeah, I mean, everything is just up in the air right now.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially with the direct that just happened, state of play, and then it's rumored that Microsoft is going to have a major Xbox event in March. If they're going to have show stuff this early and E3 happens, what are they going to show in the summer? Maybe that's winter 2021 stuff or 2022.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. And speaking of PlayStation, they did announce that they are for PlayStation 5 a sort of, I don't know that it's called, like PS5 VR, or if there's any specific name. They're just calling it the next generation of VR, that there's going to be a new VR system coming for the PS5. I imagine that means you can't use your previous PSVR, or I don't know how that's going to work. Do y'all have any more insights? It just kind of sounds like they announced it and there's not a lot of details yet, right?
Do you know if you can use the previous PSVR with a current PS5?
There's an adapter that you order. You have to show like a proof of purchase, and then Sony will send you an adapter to make it work with PS5.
Well, you can't just have it. Like, that's stupid.
You gotta prove you own it, dude.
You can't. Why do I need to prove I own something to buy something else?
Hey, dongles
Sony doesn't
don't
trust
cost nothing.
Oh, that's funny.
We both just yelled at Patrick.
Yeah.
For something you probably agree with.
Yeah. They're just like yelling about dumb procedures.
Anyway, this is good. And I hear it's only a single cable too, which is, I think, was the big barrier to entry for a lot of people, like playing PSVR on the reg, right? Was all the shit you have to like hook up. I mean, you have a PSVR, right, Matt?
Yeah. There was like maybe 4 cables that you have to use. It was just a nightmare.
Too much.
Yeah, and I think it seems like PlayStation VR really, I mean, it's not maybe the biggest one or even the most common one, but it definitely brings a lot of people into VR, it seems like, at least. So
yeah, I think maybe the Quest has overtaken it now, but for a while it was the most popular VR headset. And they should do it. And the PS5 has so much more power than the PS4 does, like just raw computing power to do good VR. So this is good, and I hope it really takes off.
And while we're on the topic of PlayStation, on February 25th, they had their State of Play, which is their Nintendo Direct-esque presentation that they now do. And as David said at the top of the show, this was kind of a stinker. I didn't even watch it. I just read the, kind of recaps and stuff because I couldn't watch it at the time, and I had no desire to go watch it after that. So did anybody here actually sit down and watch this, either live or after?
Yeah, I was watching it.
How did you feel, Matthew? Do you think it was a stinker?
Really set me up for failure there.
Or not. You can be like, no, it was a...
How much did this fucking thing say?
Yeah.
How bad did it smell?
Was it hot doo-doo butt cakes?
That's a good way to put it.
It was both of those things. It was fine. It was a C+.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Direct was better.
The Direct was way better. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Direct was way more hype. It did have some great games. I don't know if have you all watched it?
I've seen the highlights. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I saw the highlights and they fucking smelled like doo-doo butthole.
I read how bad it was.
You didn't even watch it.
I do. I'm looking forward to Kena. I feel like they keep changing.
That was the one thing I
on
thought
that.
looked cool.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
It's the one by
Who
like
watched this?
I did.
It's the one by the people who made that like Majora's Mask like viral trailer or whatever a while ago, and they're like making a game now. And it's kind of like a
woman.
Yeah, it's like an action RPG adventure sort of thing.
I did see it. Yeah.
That I think looks pretty good. And then it's what they're like remaking Final Fantasy VII Remake.
That seemed to be the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else. What else? Yeah. Was there anything else to write home about? Or?
Yeah, I liked. They showed footage of a new like a brawler. It's called Sifu, Sifu. Okay. That looked like really fun. It played homage to a lot of like martial arts films, and I thought it looked really fun.
Yeah.
Is that where that Yuffie announcement came from for that game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe I did see them. Yeah.
It's clearly stuck around in our memory very clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all the Final Fantasy VII announcements were really weird because they have the Final Fantasy VII mobile game.
Which is like a battle royale, right?
Yeah, it's a battle royale. And then they have a Final Fantasy VII remake. I guess it would be a remaster where you get to experience it on mobile.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing from all the Final Fantasy VII announcements that I think is actually the coolest. It's like they're releasing it in chapters and it's for mobile and it's coming out next year at some point. But it's like basically Final Fantasy, it's like what people thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to be before it was like an action RPG, right? Like it's like truer to the turn-based stuff. And it's like, you can play through like Advent Children. Like I think you can like play the movie now. And it's like, what was the other one?
Wait, so Advent Children is canon with the remake storyline wise?
You heard it here first. Absolutely.
It's confusing. It's like the second remake they've done of Final Fantasy VII in like 2 years. So it doesn't make a ton of sense. But
Crisis Core.
That's what I was thinking of.
Oh right.
Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah.
Oh, and that too. Yeah.
So those will all be included in this like thing they're parsing out over episodes. I hope that comes to Switch eventually.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Like when it's all done. That, and then of course, like I think they're doing a PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that's where the Yuffie stuff comes in, where it's like adding story beats to that first chapter. So it's getting too complicated.
Well,
I'm just waiting for the Sid Highwind introduction.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like he was in my final 3, and I think he's like, I like him.
While we're talking about, is there anything else on the state of play? No. While we're talking about,
I will just say, where's Ratchet and Clank? Where's all this shit? Where's Horizon Zero Dawn? Where's all this shit? They've got so much stuff that they need to talk about, and that none of it was there, right? So I guess they know that not enough people have PS5, so they don't need to release games right now. But it's like we need these announcements. We need to know like when these games are coming out.
Well, while we're talking a lot about Square, maybe we should talk about this this news that just came out. They were recording this, that the studio Forever Entertainment is apparently working on, or has made some sort of deal with Square to remake, quote unquote, several of their titles. And just to be, so everybody's wondering who Forever Entertainment is. They did the Panzer Dragoon remake, which was kind of meh. Is that as I understand it? There was some controls issues, and
it was definitely not ready when they released it. I think they put out patches for it like 3 months after release that made it pretty polished and good to go. But I think they rushed it for the Switch release. Yeah.
So this news broke and everybody's getting excited, and I figured that David and Matthew, you might be excited about the possibility of Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross or something.
I really hope. I had a resurgence of Chrono Trigger this past weekend watching some old videos. I don't think it is going to be Chrono Trigger with at least this development house.
Do that in-house, don't you think?
You think Square would do that themselves? Yeah,
I think so.
I read some speculation too, and I didn't dig too deep in this. It's just me repeating people saying this, that apparently this deal gives a lot of the revenue to Forever. So the theory being that maybe this is just some stuff Square has sitting around that they aren't doing anything. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And rather than one of their bigger franchises where they might want to do something.
Yeah, I've heard some rumblings about like, because they did say series, or it's like multiple games in a franchise or whatever. So I know some people were thinking like Vagrant Story could be one of them, but I think that's just one. Yeah. That's just one game, right? Like that's not really a franchise. So
yeah,
I don't know exactly what it would be. Maybe like the like Illusion games, or like what was like ActRaiser a part of? Something kind of like along those lines. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, it's good. I mean, we just need to get more of those old RPGs out. I'd love it if they did Chrono Cross though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I just saw some people like dunking on Chrono Cross. I'm like, oh, I guess apparently there must be like a divide between like Chrono Trigger people and Chrono Cross people, because I came in as a Chrono Cross fan. Like,
same. Yeah.
So I was a little surprised that, there's like a splinter there when it came to that fan base.
I find that people who dunk on Chrono Cross are generally like uncultured swine people. So.
Yeah, and then you say you play Vagrant Story, and they're like, oh, you can't say shit.
Right. Yeah, right.
I have good taste. I have good taste. I played Vagrant Story.
Who don't like Chrono Cross, I think people generally are pieces of shit.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page on this. Let's both yell at Patrick about this.
Yeah. I've never played Chrono Cross, but I don't dunk on it. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I've just never played it.
Chrono Cross is
Chrono
great.
Trigger.
People don't like Chrono Cross because it's not like a direct sequel to Chrono Trigger, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's a little esoteric, and there's like 45 characters, but it's like it's its own thing, you know? And it's like it definitely deserves a remake. And
we're a Chrono Cross podcast now.
Yeah, we've what's the meme? Always has been.
Despite me never having played it.
Super Switch Headz is a Chrono Cross podcast. Always has been.
Moving back to this Square stuff, just Hail Mary things that I'm just looking up the Squaresoft franchises that might be reused. I think it would be more like a Dragon Quest, really early Dragon Quests that aren't all that popular. Mm-hmm. Whatever those might be in a series. But some Hail Marys, I'm thinking like Legacy of Kain. All of the Soul Reaver games, if those get a resurgence. And maybe since Bubsy got like a Kickstarter, maybe we'll see some Gex enter the Gecko.
That would be fucking tight too. There is a lot of IDOS that they could pull from, right?
Yeah.
Man, I think that you might be onto something with Legacy of Kain. I think that actually makes a ton of sense. Because it's like, you know, Panzer Dragoon's not like an RPG. We keep thinking of like turn-based RPGs or whatever. But I think that something that's a little more one-to-one. They also said it would be like a faithful remake like Panzer Dragoon was. Like that was basically just up-resed with some modern conveniences added onto it. I think that you might be onto something there. If it's not Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, you should eat something, Matt.
Yeah. I'll eat a cake.
There you go. That's so much better than what I have to do.
Like a Game Boy Advance or whatever. The Halo TV series, which I don't think we've ever talked about on the podcast, but it's been in development for a while. I think they did filming of it in 2019 and right before the pandemic.
They're filming again now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess there's been some news recently that it's moving platforms. It was originally going to be on Showtime, and it's now going to Paramount Plus, which I guess is the future streaming service that like CBS All Access is going to turn into.
So filming wrapped in 2019?
I thought so, but maybe it was just they had to stop because of the pandemic. But David's saying they're doing new shoot.
Yeah, they're shooting now. I think there are some set photos that just
that's leaked. Like the safest thing. Everyone's wearing helmets. Like that's very COVID.
Or huge costumes.
Or
CGI.
It's scientifically proven that you can't catch COVID if you're in a warthog, and everybody knows that.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, there were some like image leaks, though. I heard that some people suspected that might not be this, and that might be like commercials or something. So I wasn't sure if that was related or not. I saw that too.
Yeah.
But either way, this show's been in development for a long time, I think, right? So
yeah. I feel good that I have a CBS All Access account right now.
Does that just roll? I don't know.
We're now a streaming. It turns into they're just changing the name basically into Paramount Plus. Because that's what the kids are hot for these days is the Paramount brand. Yeah.
Like,
that's what really gets them going.
Fuck CBS, Paramount.
Yeah.
For life.
I fucking love mountains and stars.
Also, TV news, the Playing with Power documentary that we talked about series is on Crackle apparently. And David, did you add this that apparently it's not very good?
Yeah, it's got like a 4 on IGN or something like that out of 10. Yeah, that's not a 4 out of 5. That's a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
I'll still give it a chance. I was gonna watch some today, but work was really busy. So I'll check in next week and if I don't know if I'll if it's really terrible, I don't know if I'll watch all 6 episodes. It's like 6 hours long in total, but with ads because it's Crackle. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm still interested to watch it for sure.
And we know that the next Smash Ultimate characters are Mythra / Pyra, or Pyra / Mythra, whoever you prefer to be first named there. And there's going to be a presentation, Mr. Sakurai presents on the 4th, on March 4th. So that's like shortly after this podcast comes out, a couple days, I guess, or a day after. So that's cool. What do y'all think? Is it going to be we'll be able to play with these characters right then? Or do you think that maybe they'll do another Sephiroth type thing where maybe?
I hope so.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
No, more Fire Emblem. Not enough fire. More Fire Emblem.
Yeah, they're like, psych.
Yes, psych.
It's
all Fire Emblem.
Whoops.
I wouldn't even, at this point, I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be totally fine.
Right.
Just do a third Fighter's Pass. That's all Fire Emblem. I'll take it.
And then it sounds like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has been selling very well after this announcement, which it makes you wonder too, when they do something like this, where you're like, this seems like a weird time to add that character or those characters, but maybe it's not, if it then gets people to go out and buy the game that's been out for a few years and gets it back on the charts or whatever, like.
Yeah, that, and I think Torna, like copies of Torna right now are in really high demand, and they didn't make that many. So I think a copy of Torna is like $130 or something right now.
Torna is such a good game
for a physical copy. Yeah. So
wow,
if you see one of those for cheap, grab it.
There was an interesting feature that's discovered recently on the Nintendo DS, the old, Nintendo DS console. People have been, hacking it and playing around with it, and found that there is a way to. It has like a video output function that they've turned on and are able to then play their DS on the TV, which I think is just interesting when you think about the Switch and the history and how Nintendo clearly has been thinking about this for a long time. Probably not just Nintendo, but clearly Nintendo has been, we've talked about it with other things too, right? Like they had this idea with, I don't even remember now, other consoles and stuff have had this concept, but so that's interesting.
Well, they've been doing it since like the Super Game Boy on the Super Nintendo.
Right. Yeah. There's always, that's a good call, right? They've been kind of playing around with the idea of turning their hand, being able to use your handheld is also a TV thing.
I think the SP had a moment where it did that for a little bit. Or
maybe,
I don't know.
I feel there was the Game Boy Player for the GameCube that played Game Boy Advance games.
Oh yeah, that's what you put the GameCube on top of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that what I did? I remember playing WarioWare on a TV screen. That's how I know this has existed at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was also, there was like ways to connect your Game Boy Advance to the GameCube to like use it as a controller, which was kind of a proto Wii U, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they've pretty much, it's kind of like I'm a Radiohead fan. I really like the band Radiohead. And they, a lot of times, like their albums, they'll always put like a couple songs on that they've been playing for like years and years that they've just been like workshopping forever. I feel like Nintendo's like that, you know what I mean? Where it's like, if they pretty much everything that they do, they've worked on at some point in the past. Like, even like the 3DS was like the Virtual Boy, like fucking around with 3D and stuff.
Or
like that.
The PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly. like the Nintendo PlayStation.
When Nintendo put out the PlayStation.
Yeah. Almost happened. Yeah.
The 20th Tetris 99 Maximus Cup was announced.
Let's fucking go.
Bowser's Fury crossover. Coming on March 4th, also a couple days after this comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. I guess 20. They've had 20 of these.
Yeah, very exciting. The map looks awesome. It's got Bowser's big fucking face behind the Tetris thing, just like looking at you fuck up. You know what I mean? He's just like, argh. And
every 6 minutes while you're playing Tetris 99.
Yeah.
Bowser comes out and harasses you.
Well, no, in Tetris 99, Bowser is the other players you meet along the way. But it's got the like bitchin' metal music whenever Bowser comes out. So it's like
that music is good.
Worth playing for the music alone, I think.
David, you should cover this next news item. This game is, and you also know the facts about it.
Sure, I'll do the headline. But for new fans of roguelikes, because you played Hades and now you want to play more roguelikes, the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth expansion Repentance is finally coming out this year. It's coming to PC in March, and then I think later in the year, I think they said in the third quarter of 2021, it'll be coming to Switch, which is very exciting. I've put probably 2,000 hours into Binding of Isaac. I'm completely obsessed. I've fallen off of it recently because I knew they'd be putting out this expansion at some point, so I've just been kind of like chilling on it for the most part. But yeah, I'm very excited to play this. It turns out that I'm pretty sure it'll be releasing as DLC if you already own Afterbirth, and then if you don't own Afterbirth, they're releasing a physical copy for $60, which includes Afterbirth, Afterbirth Plus, and Repentance all in one package. So that's pretty exciting. Very fun game. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge roguelikes fan, so this is kind of one of the big OGs other than Spelunky that a lot of people talk to and or point to as inspirations for modern roguelikes. So definitely check out Binding of Isaac Repentance. I don't got to sell you guys on Binding of Isaac. I'm sure you can.
And our last little bit of news is that Bravely Default 2 came out on February 26th. That game is now available. If you were waiting around for that, go get it. It's got a decent score on Metacritic right now, 78, and just purely anecdotally, a lot of Switch heads are really into it. You know, it's everybody's talking about it on our Discord right now. DCD, Emma, Summer, Austin, other people I'm forgetting. Everybody's playing that and chatting it up and making me want to play it. Though I'm going to beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2 before I start another JRPG, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, I also don't know if it's for me. I also have just like a shit ton of RPGs on my Switch that I have barely touched.
I need to beat some stuff.
Yeah. But hey, if you're enjoying Bravely Default 2, I hear it's a wonderful game and more power to you.
Yeah.
Play Crosscode after that.
Well, I think that does it for the news and rumors, and we are going to take a break and come back and talk all about the 25th anniversary of Pokemon and the Pokémon Presents event. All right, so this week we are talking all about Pokemon. The 25th anniversary of Pokemon just happened the other day, and there was a Pokemon Presents or Presents video on the 26th of February.
We know it's Presents.
I don't know. So before we get into like the Pokemon Presents video, which is a big chunk of this, maybe we can just talk about Pokemon's 25th anniversary. And this is where I'm going to shut up and just listen because I don't have a big history or any real history with this franchise.
You had to have like at least a first Pokemon game though.
A Pokemon Let's Go Eevee 2018.
Wow.
Or Pokemon Go, maybe.
Do you see why we brought you on, Vanessa?
Oh my god.
So I was what year did Pokemon come out? 90
In the US it came out in 98.
Right.
I was 17 years old and I had set my Game Boy down and I played, like Ocarina of Time and stuff like that, but I'm not playing kids games like Pokemon at that time, That was my attitude.
So judgmental. 17-year-old Patrick was so judgmental.
But I mean, I think it was kind of right. Like, or at least none of my friends were playing it. Like, I know other people were like, "Oh, my friends," or like it wasn't a.
It was marketed as like a kid thing. Like, even if you take away the anime cartoon Saturday morning thing away from it, like, yeah. I found out about Pokemon because Toys R Us was sending promotional VHSs to like homes they know that had kids in them, and
all right.
That's how I found out about Pokemon.
I don't know about y'all. If this is, I don't mean to turn this into this discussion, but around the age of like, I don't know, 16, 17 to about 25, I was like, maybe shunning things that I loved, but that weren't cool
to try to
something.
impress like
or
women
to,
or
yeah,
something?
just like
Oh.
I don't know. I was more like just trying to get drunk all the time and not like I don't know.
Right.
Like I wasn't like trying to. And then when I got to be about 25, I was like, oh no, you know what? I'm gonna go back and start reading comic books and playing video games. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
being
at
true to yourself.
17, I was getting drunk at anime conventions. So,
See?
like that,
That's
that just escalated in a different direction.
Yeah.
was
You
just
do
my
Molly.
trajectory.
You do Molly while you're cosplaying. Everybody knows that's the
Right,
way
yeah.
to
I'm not-
meet people.
it's not saying it's a universal experience, but that was my experience always.
Yeah.
Anyway, total aside. So y'all talk about Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, I know. For me personally, I was hooked from day one. Like, I was like the right fucking age for it.
Right.
Whenever it hit, I
same.
think I was born in '88, so I was 10 or 11 whenever Pokemon came out, and I was just it was hitting at exactly the right time. It was like this viral thing too, because it was all about community and like trading with your friends, like the video game was anyway. And then the card game, like for so long, was even bigger than the video games, and so people even that didn't play the card game, like I played the card game a lot. And I would go to like toy stores and do tournaments and shit and fucking wreck, by the way. But like even people that weren't even like into the game would just like to collect them, And so, it was like 98, 99, 2000, like as that shit was really taking off. I was all in. I loved the show and all that kind of stuff. Matt, I know you're a little bit older than me, not super old, but what was your experience like when Pokemon came out?
I'm an old ass. Speak to your elders with respect. Born in '83. So this was, I was just outside of the age range. I think I was in high school when this became really, really popular. So I played Pokemon Red and Blue on a bus on a band trip to Florida. And that was my first time I played Pokemon, and one of my only times I played Pokemon was on the bus, specifically like talking and trading Pokemon on the bus only. But as soon as I got off the bus, never again.
It was a mobile only experience.
Yeah, mobile only experience. However, like Pokemon is such a part of our culture at this point, where like my partner now, Casey, what really connected us really strongly is the age old question is like, if you had to choose who was your starting Pokemon, because on one of our first dates, Casey also played Pokemon, and I thought she was Bulbasaur. I was like, only terrible people choose Bulbasaur. Yeah, that's right, Vanessa. I'm talking to you. No, it's perfectly fine. But
I'm like full blown member of like Bulbasaur propaganda. I'm in that circle.
Well, I'm on the Squirt Squad.
I was a Squirtle boy too. I was a Blastoise boy. I saw Blastoise on the box.
Boy.
I was a Blastoise boy. I saw Blastoise on the box. I was like, I wish that was my dad, and so I picked that.
I want my dad to have 2 cannons in his shell.
I want him to be a super wet man. No, but that's really nice though. So that's what brought you and Casey together.
Yeah, like if someone can like joke with me and think like choosing Pokemon is like a really big important, because we know we kind
What
of
if she said Charmander?
I mean,
what if she said
we would still be dating?
It's like I would have dropped her ass right there.
I would.
Well, I did think she was Charmander, and then she was like, "No, who the fuck do you think I am?" She didn't say that. She didn't cuss.
So she was Squirtle.
She was Squirtle. Yeah. And that's like when we like strongly connected. So like, that's why we have Squirtle. We had these huge Squirtle mascot costumes we had for Halloween. And that's primarily where that came from, and kind of
that's
the main impetus to see how we connected really strongly.
What about you, Vanessa? What was your early Pokemon journey like?
I had Red. My sister had Blue. We completed the Pokedex. I watched the cartoon. I drew fan art.
Yeah.
Internet, dial-up, all of it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember being in middle school and like printing out like the Mew under the truck like cheat codes and stuff, and like that little piece of paper made it all around like the school. Like I was just in it, and to this day, like whenever I throw a Pokeball, I hold down A.
Yeah,
like there's a trick that you do. You have to wait, and I think there's nothing ever came of it. I don't know. Maybe it's just some superstition that stuck with me since like 1998 to just hold down on like A when you're.
That's so funny. Yeah. No, I do the same thing. And it's like, there were all those like schoolyard rumors, right? Like before Pokemon Gold came out, like before we knew what Meryl was actually called, everybody thought
Peekaboo.
They thought it was Peekaboo, and they were like, "Yo, if you like go to this spot in Pokemon Red or Blue, you'll find Peekaboo." It was just fucking bullshit. It was just kids like making shit
and like
up.
Yoshi was in the game too. Bullshit.
Yeah. But it was like we were so starved for anything at that point, you know? I mean, not that there was like a drought of Pokemon stuff. Like we'll get to this in a second, but there was like that Pokemon retrospective at the beginning of the Presents video. And it was like just seeing how much was in the first couple years. Like they put out so much shit like right at the like, it was a full-on blitz by the time Pokemon came.
Yeah, they were doing their best. And it's funny because when you're at that age, it felt like Gold and Silver was taking a million years to come out. When you're done with like Red and Blue.
Way into that shit though. Yeah, played it forever. And like you said, like you played with your sister, like I played with my brother. And so like, you know, we both had Game Boys. So we actually like used the link cable functionality like quite a bit. And so that, you know, just further entrenched the whole like trading and battling thing. And then on top of that, I had a Game Shark, so I would just like cheese the shit out of that and like catch all these Pokemon.
I just did the Masingo thing. I wasn't fancy. I just Masingo'd slot number 6 on the items to get right.
I did that too, and then my game got totally screwed, and so I had to start over, which was traumatizing. But anyway,
I know it did that to some games. I just don't remember if it did it to mine. I think I got away with it.
Yeah. It was dangerous. You were playing with fire.
It was,
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's crazy to think that it's been around for 25 years and it's not ever lost any steam. Really, you know, it's like Pokemon is like the biggest franchise ever in the world. I think it's like bigger than Hello Kitty. Like Hello Kitty is in second place.
I mean, it pretty much started the you know, catch your animal friend trend, because it was like, I mean, like the like Yokai Watch didn't exist without
or like Digimon
Digimon, like shoot, even like Cardcaptor Sakura, when you think about it, was at the time was meant to compete with Pokemon. The idea of we have to go out and catch all these like mystic things that were just released, and you know, like the idea of collecting these little creatures or beings, Pokemon, it was like a really simple formula, and it's held up for decades now.
Yeah, it's like the OG, and it's like, and I feel like now there's like such this resurgence in Pokemon card collecting right now as well. Like I've got this, you know, Pikachu McDonald's box back here, and it's like people went fucking nuts like trying to get the Pokemon cards that came out in those, you know, and people are selling like first edition Pokemon cards for like, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars.
So are those cards like reprints of the ones issued in the 90s?
No. They're like new. They're new cards.
Okay. They looked like legit, like legal cards, like you could play in the game. And
they are legal cards, but it's like a lot of them are like Sword and Shield Pokemon or Pokemon from different gens. Yeah, there's like a Cyndaquil, I think, in one of them. But yeah, it's you know, I've fallen off a little bit, you know, like I've played a lot of the games, like, you know, we'll talk a little bit about the Diamond and Pearl remix. Like I played those, I played X and Y, but it's like, I'm not as big into Pokemon now as I used to be, but I can't like looking at it now, it's 25 years old. It's like, this has been a part of my life for pretty much most of my life, you know?
Like, you know, every time I go to Japan, I have to go to a Pokemon Center. There's no way I'm not going to a Pokemon Center.
Yeah.
Like, it's just what I do. Like, I remember when I first went to one in 2006, it was around the time, I think it was like Gen 3, it was Torchic. But it's just so interesting because like every year I go back to Japan and go to a Pokemon Center, you see the merch change and the decor change with the game that's out at the time, because they have to keep up. It doesn't matter how many Kanto lovers there are. They have to keep like the mascots and the characters on the box, which you see in the store for the game that's out at that time.
I think I just noticed you're wearing a Gengar shirt right now. Also, I just
so it's just been a big part of how I treat like my travel plans for years and everything. Oh my god, it's so cute. It's the cutest thing when you walk into the Pokemon Center, like the music plays. I was like, this is magical. This is a religious experience. Like,
yeah, I would think it would be.
It is the happiest place in the world.
Very good.
That's super cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more, like a little tip for you that sing karaoke. The Pokemon theme song slaps.
Oh my God.
You sing at any karaoke bar, there'll be at least 2 people who lose their fucking shit. That's all you need.
Yeah.
So it's
I'll
my
have to try
go-to
that sometime.
karaoke song. It's super fun.
I can't believe I haven't done that at karaoke before. Also, fucking where I miss karaoke so goddamn much right now.
I know.
I'm like about to cry. Like
Yeah.
you just made me remember how great karaoke is.
Yeah, like remember being crowded in a small room, man.
Singing.
Get vaccinated, everybody. Let's get vaccinated.
Let's
Join
get
the Slack
vaccinated.
channel.
Join the Slack channel. All right. Well, let's talk about. Can we move on to the presentation, the Pokemon Presents on February 26th? Then, so I mean, this kind of ties in, like you said, David. It opened with this pretty lengthy and authoritative, like retrospective segment.
Yeah,
about
I loved it.
That went over the years, and it's like this game.
Oh, there was a toothbrush. I missed that shit. I want that toothbrush. Anyways, go back. Sorry.
Yeah, it showed off all the merch and all the shows and the games and the card game and everything, and in a timeline. The
e-reader, the like weird wand, the fucking Hey You Pikachu shit. It showed all that. The one thing it missed, which I resented, was there was no Pokemon Picross in that presentation. And I was like, what the hell, dude? That game was amazing. And you just totally glossed over it. You showed Pokemon Puzzle League, which is just paneled upon, by the way. Somebody play that with me. But they didn't show Pokemon Picross. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, we can move on.
But that was a well done segment, I think. I even as somebody who has no nostalgia for it, like it was special. This, I can see why people would, this would resonate with people who did.
They know they're nostalgic, and they can hit people in the nostalgia.
Because I mean, when I was invited to join y'all this week, I did it. I was nervous because I was like, whose Pokemon audience is this? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, and then I saw that opener. I'm like, okay, they're on the pulse. They really get who's plugged in right now, and I that was special. Like, that was a really good piece they put together for us.
I think this was a really strong presentation because it opened like that, and because of the announcements, which we'll go into now. They showed off more footage of new Pokemon Snap, so that wasn't like anything huge new, but it looks good. That game appeals to me as a non-Pokemon, or a newer Pokemon fan, I guess you could say. So, and anything about that trailer that y'all want to talk about? I mean, that's not the big news here, but before we move on to the big news.
That was pretty special. Like, these new kids aren't ready. Pokemon Snap was fun. Like, and I think that's been like a fan favorite is that no one said anything bad about it. It was just really a simple, like, it was like a side quest. It was a really experimental, ambitious game at the time for Pokemon, because it was like, okay, all we had was the main game and Stadium. What's this? We don't.
Yeah.
It's this weird artsy photography game.
It's like an Unreal shooter kind of.
Yeah. And I felt like it was really, it was just like an ambitious thing that was just really peaceful and just let you just take in the world outside of like a Stadium or your Game Boy, And we never saw that again until, well, no, we're not saying we never saw that again, but to return to that narrative, like, that's just so, like, that gives you so much freedom and it's low stakes. Like, it's nice.
A play at your own pace kind of thing. And the new one looks like it's hitting all the beats of what made the first one so good.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't like add in a bunch of shit to like overcomplicate it, but it seems like it's more fleshed out. It seems like, you know, hopefully there will be a few more levels than the first one. The first one you could really play through in like a couple hours. But it was all about the replay value, right? It's like getting the perfect shot and that kind of stuff. And so I'm very excited about this. It seems like the I forget exactly what it's called, but like the luminance ball or whatever, like seems to be replacing the ball that you would just like chuck at Pokemon's head to like piss them off. Like,
oh, I thought that was just like an apple, that. Right? You just well,
there was that. There was also like the pester ball. I think you would like throw it at their head, it would like hit them, and then like release smoke and just like piss off the Pokemon. I think they've done away with that in this game, which is probably
bring it back.
Not worth it. But
this game,
I think it's great.
Yeah, this game appeals to me for some reason. Like, I love Pokemon for the main reasons that most people do. It's like fun to battle, it's fun to collect them. But in this game, I get to take pictures.
Yeah,
it looks good. I think, you know, if there's criticisms to be, you know, made at Pokemon, it's visuals and other things, especially in the modern era. And I think this game just looks nice. Like, you know, for a Pokemon game or for
it's Bandai Namco doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like it's not Game Freak doing the kind of, you know, Let's Go or Sword and Shield engine. It's like they're building their own thing for it.
It's their second game, I think, huh? Because I think they did Pokken.
Yeah, you're right. Sense. They did do Pokken, which was also a very visually impressive game.
Like I was excited. I would like to see a Pokken too.
I think we will at some point. I don't think we'll maybe get to this at the end, but I don't think we're done with Pokemon announcements for this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
and before we move on from Snap 2, I also think just in this age of social media and the ability to, like, you know, take a nice photo, share it on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, right from your Switch, add some cool filters, that kind of thing. I think that's going to appeal to people, and we'll see. But like,
well, it seems like they've got their own built-in
sharing
system
yeah.
in the game. Yeah.
And like there's some sort of competition or something. Did I dream that up, that they kind of announced or something like that? Or there's some
you get like high scores for pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Oops. But I mean, just come on, Nintendo, bring back Miiverse, you cowards. Let's just keep all this on Miiverse, for Christ's sake.
But then
I don't want to share stuff to Twitter. I want to share it to Miiverse. That's where my people get me. Okay.
The next announcement was the one that has been rumored, and it's the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes called Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and they announced it for late 2021. So I don't know a lot about the originals, but I know some people were kind of turned off by this art style.
A lot of people were turned off by it. I'm like, be nice, y'all. Like, no,
I don't think it looks bad personally.
I don't think it looks bad, but like the remakes are in this weird like cycle where it's like, well, the Gen 1 remakes had Gen 3 graphics, the Gen 2 remakes had like Gen 6 graphics. You know, it's they're kind of keeping up with what's available at the time, and it's like, what were y'all expecting? Some type of like experimental low poly fantasy or something? I don't.
Right. Yeah.
It looked like what it's supposed to look like, and it's not like people were really 100% supportive of the Sword and Shield's choices either.
Right.
So,
Pokemon fans are always going to complain about this. Is what they've picked to complain about in this presentation, right?
I feel like it has a retro graphic feel, and that works for me. I think it's fair to criticize Sword and Shield's visuals and stuff, because I don't think they look great for a modern style.
It was very strange. I think Pokemon is having an identity crisis. That sounds so bad, but I don't know if they've really found their 3D look for the main games yet.
Right.
And it's so bad but so complicated for them, because I think it's every 4 years they tend to announce the starters for a new game like every 4 years or something like that. And consoles are updating all that time, and they also have to like evolve with that and find a 3D look that looks like them. Because, yeah, they've had their 2D look locked down for, I think, like, Sword and Shield was the first time they really had to break out of that. And
Right.
Sun and Moon, they could still linger in a comfort zone there.
Well, I
And
think if this was on the 3DS, nobody would be complaining.
Right.
You know,
That's
if
part
it
of
was like
Yeah.
a portable
Yeah.
only thing, nobody would be complaining. And like,
yeah.
and I'm not a fan of what they're doing outside of battles personally, but I'm also not that bothered by it. You know what I mean? Like, I wish that, because people compare it a lot to like Link's Awakening.
Yeah,
But Link's
I saw
Awakening had
that.
like a sheen to it and had the whole tilt shift thing to where it like kind of made it seem like little toys or whatever. And this feels a little more flat. Like, I hope they do a little something to the post processing on it to make it just pop a little bit more. I think like ultimately the chibi thing doesn't bother me because it is like what it was on the DS, just upscaled basically. You know what I mean? And like made
Yeah.
into 3D. So I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. But I mean, I understand why people are upset about it, but I think that it's also something that just like, if you start playing it, you'll get used to it really fast. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, it's from that top down perspective. Like if you were like looking at these characters like from ground level, yeah, it would feel really fucking weird. But it looks like they're trying to be really faithful to it. They're doing a 1-to-1 remake,
Totally.
which is cool, you know. And it's Ilka doing it. It's not. I like
Yeah,
that
let's
this is
talk about
not
that.
Game Freak doing this game. You know, like they're outsourcing it now, which I think is a good move.
Right.
honestly.
And like, you know, Ilka's worked on Dragon Quest and Yakuza. Like that's they know a game. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting to just hear fans be like just sort of questioning that or offended by what's seen so far, but it's like, what are you expecting for a remake? And also like the Pokemon Company and Game Freaks, they're probably like in the middle of the next generation right now.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a lot. That's a lot of new models and just everything to just spend your top team, like your A team resources to go into like a remake. I don't know.
They
know.
can't even put their B team on it because the B team is working on Little Town Hero too. So
Yeah, like
Let's fucking go.
Well,
yeah,
I think you know, you're talking about their cycle being you know, I think problematic in that they're trying to crank out games so
Exactly.
often that if they're going to keep that pace, this is how you're going to do it and have
Right.
quality games and have upgrades and have that kind of thing happen.
And
Right.
someone like Ilka is probably like totally pleased and happy and encouraged and enthusiastic about doing a Pokemon game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where Game Freak is going to be like, okay, we got to do the remake now. You know what I mean? Like Ilka is probably going to put
That's
a lot
the
of love
vibe I
into
get
this.
too, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's an honor to work
Yeah.
on Pokemon after 25 years of just pure success like that.
Yeah.
It's
What
but I
do we?
still- Oh, sorry.
Oh no!
Oh, sorry.
You finished what you were saying. I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
but yeah, I do feel like Pokemon is still in this very experimental transitional phase where they're still trying to find the 3D look for
Yeah.
the Game Freaks style, like for their main games.
Yeah.
And I think like Sword and Shield was a really rough start because I just remember when it came out, people were like, they're using the models from like Gen 8. How
Right.
dare they? They had all the resources and time in the world. Like it's Pokemon fans can be really tough.
Yeah. Pokemon Twitter is pretty toxic. From what I
Yeah.
understand. How do we feel about like Diamond and Pearl in general? Like, like Matt, did you play Diamond and Pearl on the DS?
Nope.
No. Do you enjoy Diamond and Pearl? Was that a gen you were a fan of, Vanessa?
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah.
I didn't make it all the way to the end, but I put like 30 hours into it. Yeah,
Yeah. It was like
I played it.
that was like high school for me, right? Like that was
Mhm.
like you were talking about playing like Red and Blue on the bus, Matt. Like Diamond and Pearl for me was like it was maybe just after high school or at the very beginning, but it was like going on trips and like trading with people when the DS was really big and we were like, hey, we're cool because we're playing video games. We're like the future nerds. You know what I mean? Like that was when I was playing this game. So I really enjoyed Diamond and Pearl personally.
I liked it.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to trying this out for sure.
Vanessa, I've just like been thinking about, like, you're right. I never thought about it, how Pokemon really struggles with transitioning from 2D to 3D, from the art style and that experience. I mean, I think that's part of a larger discussion, like what other franchises have done that well, or to kind of differentiate it between their main franchises and other entries into the franchise. Something like like Wind Waker was universally despised when it released, but like 2 weeks after it came out, people loved it, and people love it more than other Zelda games. And that's maybe because they've been consistent with that type of link in like Spirit Tracks and other, using that same model across the board, differentiate from the other games. But I think Pokemon is maybe even more difficult because they're trying to keep one narrative and one story with different art styles, and that's sometimes really hard to do.
Well, and maybe then we can use that to segue into the other big announcement, which is
Yeah.
the 3D game that they announced, Pokemon Legends. How do you say this? Arceus?
Arceus.
Arceus.
I always said Arceus until they were like, it's pronounced Arceus in this presentation.
Yeah.
So
when
this-
in doubt, read the katakana for like how to pronounce.
Exactly.
This appears to be a fully 3D Pokemon, the first, right?
Yeah, feudal era Pokemon game. That's
Yeah, and-
interesting. I loved how they took like the starters from different games. That's special.
Mhm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it looks better than maybe, I don't know if y'all would agree or not. The visuals look
looks
slightly
good.
better than Sword and Shield.
Well, they
or
made
maybe-
a you could tell they were trying to show a lot of different kinds of trees. You know what I mean? They were like not just N64 trees, we also have GameCube trees and maybe Wii trees as well in it. But I just liked at the beginning of this trailer, it like opened with this wide shot and like some plinky Breath of the Wild style piano like playing underneath. They're like, hey, you motherfuckers were asking for a Breath of the Wild Pokemon. This is that, right? Like they're clearly trying to do that.
It's like, I know you're pandering to me because I love Breath of the Wild, but I'm into this.
Yeah. It
As-
seems great. That's what
as a-
everybody's wanted. Yeah.
And as a non-Pokemon person, like this appeals to me the most because it feels like, oh, this is like, this looks like a game that I could play. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
I mean, it's still like turn-based. So I'm like, okay, I'm still on board with this combat style.
It seems like it's maybe like a hybrid, right? Because they said it was action RPG, but then it showed them picking moves, right? Like in the thing.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little confusing as to how exactly it's going to play.
I don't know. While we're talking about that, I don't know if this is like official now because this kind of happened right after the announcement or right around it. There was some leaks of some slides that suggested that it's like an active time battle. So it is sort of turn-based, but also sort of time-based. And that like there's no transition between the overworld and the battles. It's like all seamless. Whether that turns out to be true or not is one thing, but also it seems like that might be a legit leak.
Yeah, I mean, it leaked like hours before the presentation, and then it had the exact same art style and everything, and it's clearly that was a real leak. Yeah,
I love that the community is very open to it and receiving it well. Like me personally, I'm still adjusting to a Pokemon game feeling like that, looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an old head. Like
Yeah.
I'm used to my little overhead chibi thing, But I'm not gonna like discredit it. It's beautiful. It's ambitious. Like it's supposed to take place in history. I'm with it. I'm really with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that gets to, we've talked about this, but when we've talked about Pokemon before, and I think this is true of any big franchise that does the same thing. It's like, how do you, be respectful of the past and what people want but also innovate? Because people want both things. They want, and that's tricky. They
don't have to innovate. I feel like they're finally being like, okay, the older crowd that wants something a little bit different, we're doing this for them, because they don't have to do this. They could just keep pumping out new gens the way they've been doing it, and sales have not slowed down. We talked about that earlier. So it's like, this feels like they're finally willing to take a chance. You know what I mean? And so I applaud them for that. This has been much needed for a long time for fans that have been around for 25 years.
Yeah, and to that point, I think it's a good sign for Game Freak that Diamond and Pearl is being made by Ilka and Pokemon Snap is by Bandai Namco. That way, like Game Freak feels like they're fully dedicated to Pokemon Legends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this game's coming out, they say early 2022. So
make it late 2022. That's what I say.
Well, that's the
spend
problem.
some time on it.
That's the problem with Pokemon too, right? They're trying to crank out games,
right?
To crank out new merch to keep
exactly
being the number
like
one.
The pipeline for Pokemon games is insane because it's like, okay, Sword and Shield's already a year old. It's like they probably have the starters already ready to go for the next one, and they got to like do the models for all those Pokemon, and then they got to plan the merch for all those Pokemon. All of that has to be ready within like 4 years, and so I'd really like to see the Pokemon Company just be present with what they have that they know works already than struggling to keep up with like unknown idea. Well, not unknown ideas, but like, of course, it's always great to innovate and experiment with like the direction you want your main series to go. But I guess I'm just concerned for them because Sword and Shield did seem like where did this like play out the way you wanted it to in your long legacy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the latest representation of your legacy, as like a main canon game like that. And so leaning into what they have already with Legacy, yeah, there's nothing like it.
Well, I feel like that's probably why they set this in Sinnoh, right? It's it's like they've got the kind of world already. Obviously, it's before, right? This is like the filling out the first Pokedex in this region, but it's like they don't have to come up with like all new Pokemon and make all new animations and everything for this. Although we can talk about the animations maybe because that's been the one thing that's been problematic. Because like some of that frame rate on the Pokemon moving was definitely a little issue.
Yeah,
I think I heard somebody say like. It's okay that the Pokemon move at 3 frames a second because it's 3 more frames a second of open world Pokemon than I had previously. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I think it definitely needs a little bit of work, and I think they maybe showed it a little bit too early, right? But it's like, I'm super, super fucking pumped for this. Like, this is what I've wanted for a really long time. I've wanted something that takes risks, and I want something that takes a chance. And like you said, Vanessa, I'm sure they've got loaded up the next gen that's going to be the kind of standard Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But I think, you can't help but feel that like Sword and Shield, like the open area in Sword and Shield was like them testing out this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, I feel like if this takes off, then it's instead of them in-house developing a Let's Go and remakes and the modern gen, like they'll just be basically doing Legends Kanto or Legends Mew or whatever, like whatever they put out next.
Ooh, a Legends Mew would be nice.
Yeah, Legends Mew would be fucking sick. But let's focus on one game at a time. But yeah, I think I'm super down, you know what I mean, for this game, and I really hope they put the time that it needs into it and they don't rush it out.
Yeah, and while we're talking about those leaks, there may be climbing and mounts and stuff like that, if those are true, which does make it really feel like Breath of the Wild as well.
Yeah. Also, it'd be really interesting if maybe that did compete or hang as a main canon game, because like the Pokemon video game championships is dependent on like the newest game at the time, and so it's like, okay, well, I guess Sword and Shield didn't really get the season it was supposed to get because of COVID. Are they going to move on and maybe like Arceus is going to be that game that lets the competitive Pokemon play, the real team builders and stuff? Is this game going to have room or like a stage for them? I would love to see that, because that's a scene I wanted to explore more, because underneath, like all the cuteness and the games and the exploring and the catching, there's still like a tactical RPG there with how you build your team. And
yeah, and if it's like
people forget that.
Right. And if it's like active time battles too, it's like, how would multiplayer work into that. Like, I don't know if they said anything about multiplayer in this reveal trailer.
I didn't see anything about multiplayer.
No, which also makes you wonder if there's any sort of like, I don't know, MMO aspects to it. Maybe that's wild speculation, obviously.
Yeah.
But
maybe we're overhyping this too much. But that would be fucking lit, right? Like, that would be so cool. If it was like a big open world that people could explore together.
Or
that'd be so cool.
at least a handful of people together, you know, kind of like they did in some of the Sword and Shield parts.
Yeah, because if you're like filling out the first Pokedex too, I feel like that has a lot of like potential for like cooperative gameplay. You know what I mean? And kind of sharing data with each other as you're like filling out Pokedexes in your own game. If they decided to do it that way, I feel like that's too ambitious for Game Freak, personally. But either way, I'm emboldened by this.
I will be very surprised if there's no competitive multiplayer in some capacity.
Yeah,
right? Like
maybe
or trading.
Sorry, you
this going back to Halo. Like when there was a huge rumor that Halo Infinite was going to release story mode first, multiplayer a few months later, and it would seem if Pokemon follows similar side steps of any of this is true, it would be weird if this was a single player game only with little to no multiplayer. That would be I would still play this game. I would love to play a game like this, but it would be pretty weird, I think, to the general Pokemon population.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should move on. We've talked about this for a while, but anything else on the presentation that happened that day y'all want to talk about, or any of that? Anything we didn't mention?
It's a solid presentation.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I think this was. It wasn't overbloated. It didn't overstay its welcome. They didn't have like fucking Pokemon mouth or whatever they showed last time.
Well, yeah, I think there's we didn't hear about some things I thought a lot of us thought we would, like Pokemon Sleep or Unite, the free to play MOBA style game, or
that's got a beta right now, I think, in Canada.
So.
Do you think Pokemon Presents or Sony State of Play was better?
Pokemon Presents. Dude, I think this Pokemon Presents was arguably better than the Direct, and I really liked the Direct just because this was very like focused, right? And they knew exactly what they were going for, and there was not that much, but it's like there was enough there to really chew on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought they did a great job with it.
There was also the Pokemon digital concert with Post Malone that happened on the 27th. Did y'all watch that?
Hell yeah, I did.
I did, yeah.
No.
What'd y'all think? for the two of you that did, how was it?
You're off the fucking pod.
Right? Like I saw it scroll by, and like, you know, I could have pressed play and I did not.
That's fair.
Listen, the audience, crossover audience between Pokemon and Hootie and the Blowfish fans. It's
massive.
There's a lot to unpack there. Like,
Post Malone covering Hootie and the Blowfish.
I never
with
thought
Pokemon flying around.
I never thought I would get nostalgic for Hootie and the Blowfish, but this is kind of a good bop.
But I want to hold your hand.
Yeah, I do want to hold your hand.
I want to be with you.
The concert was weird, though. It was like 18, maybe less than 18 minutes.
It was like 12 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like 4 songs.
Yeah.
Digital recreated, maybe mocapped Post Malone. I couldn't tell.
Definitely. Yeah.
I personally, while I was watching it, and it was perfectly fine, I couldn't stop thinking about what those negotiations would have looked like. Like, who else was Nintendo thinking about for this digital?
Katy Perry. I was told there was a Katy Perry.
Well, I think that's still upcoming.
Yeah,
okay.
Right? Like there's something with her, right?
Yeah.
Why Post Malone definitely makes you wonder. Who did they go to first? Was it Post Malone?
I think it was Weird Al.
Britney Spears because
Weird Al.
Because she did throw her kids like a Pokemon birthday party. She had like, I'm a Pokemon, and she was on like the first movie soundtrack.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So Britney Spears could have been, but okay, you know what? No, this is just could have.
Man, shout out to
this
Pokemon.
Is toxic.
Pokemon trainer Jeremy, right, is always like posting like pop music, like Pokemon soundtracks. If you're listening, Pokemon trainer Jeremy, this fucking topic is for you, right?
If we can get some J-pop or K-pop in, then it will.
Yeah,
I actually get my K-pop, suggestions from Pokemon trainer.
Yeah,
Pokemon
absolutely.
trainer Jeremy. Yeah,
but yeah. I thought it was like, honestly, like, all right. I'm not a Post Malone fan. You know, I like the song Congratulations as much as anybody else does. He did close with that. And I thought the Hootie cover was I thought it was just kind of interesting to see this format, I guess. I think, like, you know, there's some potential there. You know, it definitely feels like a COVID thing, right? But it was like, it definitely
that felt like COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, this is the new normal, right?
So I think, I'm sorry, Dave, finish it.
No, it's all good. I was just going to say, I thought the stage that he was on just felt like an Omega version of a Smash stage, like flying through like all these Pokemon biomes. It's just like, okay, when's this going to turn into like a Battlefield variant of the stage? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about it.
Vanessa, to your question about Katy Perry, I think what they said is that there's going to be an album like coming out that has this Post Malone song and has a Katy Perry song and a few other people. Like,
it's all Hootie and the Blowfish covers.
Well, that does make you wonder, is it going to be all covers of games, of songs from around when the first games came out or something?
Yeah, let's just go with like Blues Traveler, Deep Blue something.
Yo, bring back M2M, dude. Yeah.
CNC Music Factory.
Yeah.
So that happened.
There's not much to say about it other than that it happened. Yeah.
Well, I think we've talked about all this, but is there anything that anybody wants to say about, you know, this 25th anniversary? Anything else you're hoping for Pokemon, or any thoughts on the franchise? Like, what does it have? What do you think there's going to be? David, you kind of hinted, you think there's going to be more Pokemon announcements for the 25th anniversary this year?
Just like how we haven't really seen the full extent of the Zelda 35th anniversary this year. I think we'll see more. I think we'll see more stuff coming out for Pokemon. It might not be coming out in 2021, but like you were saying, Vanessa, I think we'll see a Pokken tournament sequel at some point. And I think, you know, I think we'll definitely see more stuff. And again, it's Pokemon is outside just the video games, right? I think that we'll be seeing a lot culturally this year for Pokemon. You don't spend a bunch of money at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for nothing. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, my concerns are still like, is there a space for me? Because I do feel like since Pokemon Go, I'll just say it. Since Pokemon Go, it's like, I don't know what the community is. Like, how to really like dip my toe into this again after some time away. Because like Go was a hit, and when I look for like community stuff for like team building or just game fans, it's all around Go, and it's like, well, that's pretty special. Like it was like a cultural movement, a zeitgeist moment there. But I didn't really stick with it, and I don't know how many Pokemon fans today got into Pokemon because of Pokemon Go. I'm unclear on how big that population is right now.
Right. That's huge.
You know?
Still.
You know?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like a relief to see that announcement. And it's like, okay, yeah, we have all these Sinnoh announcements. Oh, and by the way, here's like the Go thing and what's that other thing they mentioned? And the Sword and Shield.
Yeah, Pokemon Masters, I think, had
right. It was only like a minute and a half of that. And then the rest was like stuff that I understood or felt confident about. So,
cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think Pokemon will be around in 25 years? Do you think we'll see a 50th big old bash of Pokemon just as big as this one was?
It seems to be selling pretty well. And like y'all were talking about, Pokemon Go was a pretty big thing that probably brought some people in. And if they keep making games, you know, I guess if they keep making games that are accessible to 10 to 12-year-olds, then they're going to do pretty well, you know.
Do you think we'll have Sony's State of Plays 25 years from now?
No, I don't. Yeah, they'll put out the Vita 5.
We've been shitting on Sony. It's fine.
Well, Sony just needs to put more PS5s out there. Anyway, we could talk about something else.
Let's move on. We'll take a real quick break and come back and do a listener question, and then we'll talk about what we've been playing. So this week, our question of the week is from Austin Young, who asks, if you could choose a Nintendo world to live in, which would it be and which version? For example, like if you picked Hyrule.
Donkey Kong Country.
Well, Vanessa's got her answer. What is Donkey Kong Country?
You just want to live in the jungle with a bunch of monkeys?
Yes, and I want to ride a rhinoceros, bananas, all of it.
And I want to turn into a fish.
It's great. I want to be there.
I love how ready you are for this shit.
Yeah,
First of all, full disclosure, Vanessa did not get the notes for the show until like right before we started recording, and she had this shit preloaded.
Yeah, I had.
And like, what's the worst thing that could happen to you? King K. Rool? Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, even then, you're fighting like a majestic royal lizard. Like, that's awesome.
I don't know. The platforming is kind of hard, Vanessa.
Love it, Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, that's a good answer.
That is
Matt. You have one.
The first thing that came to mind was just pilot wings, man. I just want to hang out with my friends and fly in the air and like land on shit.
Fucking have a jetpack and shit,
dude. Hell yeah, let's do it.
Excuse me. Rocket belt is what they call it in that game.
That's right, because jetpack is trademarked by the Rocketeer, the Disney Corporation. That's not true. I'm making that up.
Yeah, the jetpacketeer.
I was thinking of Animal Crossing New Horizons in particular. I wouldn't mind chilling on an island where you can just find money in trees every day.
Must be nice.
You know how everybody says money doesn't grow on trees in this world.
It does in that world.
Also,
the economy would be fucking broken if you could just find money on trees. I think I'm going to go with F-Zero on this one. I think
I was thinking about that one, but it's brutal.
But I'm ready for that like crazy dystopic like future space racing fucking shit. Like I want to be part of the 1% of the 1% that can like ride hover cars in fucking high speeds and incredible speeds and very dangerous situations. With also, I'm a big fan of King K. Rool. There's also lizard men in F-Zero, and I'd like to fight a lizard man on the track where we have equal footing. Because if I were to fight a lizard man in person, I think he would just stomp me. But if I was in my own floating car and this lizard man was in his own car, and we were both bounty hunters that never left our cars.
Yeah, that have this other job too. Moon.
If you lose, you don't get paid.
Oh my God. It's like, these are just so complex. I'm like, I literally just want to live in a jungle. In like,
we had
like
a
banana.
day to think about this.
And it's like Animal Crossing, you still got to pay a mortgage, right? Like, what?
Yeah, I got my house while you're swinging through the trees there. So.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever. I'll see you guys in my rearview mirror in my fucking fast floating space car. Also Star Fox. Anyway, I want to live in whatever universe is the crossover universe between all of Nintendo's space franchises, right? I truly believe that like Metroid, F-Zero, Star Fox, and Kirby are all like in the same like cosmic, like Nintendo cosmic universe. I want to live in that. That's what I'm saying. That's my answer.
All right. Good answers, everybody. Good job. We will now talk about what we've been playing. This week, I 100%ed. Actually, just today, I 100%ed Bowser's Fury. So
very
that
good.
Was very fun. And just like you mentioned, David, when we talked about it, I did have to look up. I guess I didn't have to, but I chose to look up the Calico Cats locations. And once I kind of got a feel for it, that helped. But that was like my last 2 stars, the 2 Calico Cats or Shines, I guess. And so I was like, man, I don't want to just wander around. So that might be the worst designed Shines in the game, but I don't know.
And I don't want to spoil it, but once you kind of figure out where one of the Calico Cats are, it narrows down the areas where the rest of them are. And so I only really looked up like 1 or 2 of them, and then I was like, oh, okay, I can start to follow the patterns from here.
And then my son and I finished our playthrough of the Paper Mario The Origami King together. And then...
It's your second playthrough.
Yes, second playthrough.
Nice.
And then today, partly because this Pokemon, he watched this Pokemon announcement with me, and I was like, we have a Pokemon game that I bought for us to play together, but you didn't really like. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and we started playing it today, and he's into it.
Okay, cool.
he is who he is, and that's the kind of person that has very little patience, just wants to do things. So we got to like the second gym, and it's like, do you have a level 15 Pokemon? Then you can do this. And I'm like, dude, we barely have one level 15 Pokemon. We shouldn't do this. And he's like, do it. And then I was like, I don't think this is the right idea. We need to go. Yeah, we got stomped. And I was like, your dad has played a lot of video games, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, I know when to grind. Anyway,
Patrick, y'all just have to have another kid so he has somebody to train with and trade with. Okay.
But anyway, so that that's what I've been playing.
Very cool. Matt, what about you, man?
I've put some more hours into Apex. I've not been playing many video games this week because I've been watching anime like so much.
Okay, what have you been watching?
I'm getting caught up on Attack on Titan. And
very good.
It's really good. I watched Demon Slayer, about a month ago, and it got me while I was watching it. I was like, man, I guess I really like anime. This is just who I am.
Oh yeah, dude.
So now I'm just watching it, and then playing Apex with some buds.
I thought you were gonna say I didn't play a lot of video games because I've just been on the Slack channel trying to get my vaccine.
Well, yeah,
trying to live,
trying to fucking survive out here.
Signing up at every county I can find.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get me started. How frustrated I was last week trying to get a damn vaccine, but it was rough.
I'm surprised I had time to play games this week because I've been watching WandaVision, and that's been making me go through all these Marvel movies again. I think what I'm at. I just watched Civil War. That's where I am in my MCU rewatch right now. I've been really enjoying those, but I did have time to play some games. First, I've been emulating a lot of old games. But I'm playing a lot of Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy. Been working my way through that on my little handheld emulator. I played some Klonoa recently. Yeah, it's good. You should fucking play it, Matt. What the hell? You should fuck Fire Emblem. You should play Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy.
You just made Summer unsubscribe.
Whatever.
Summer, Austin, DCD, everyone.
Summer will be back. Okay. But yeah, I've been playing some of that. Been playing some PlayStation games, some original PlayStation games. I've been playing Klonoa, the first Klonoa for the PlayStation. That's like a wonderful, like kind of 2.5D side-scrolling game. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the Klonoa franchise, but those games are so fun. For some reason, I just had an inkling to go back and play that, so I've been playing that. And then also, I started up again Final Fantasy Tactics. I never like played through that game when I was younger. I like started it a number of times, but never actually put any considerable amount of time into it. So I'm actually like trying to play through that game right now. And so much so that I like finally lost a battle and was like, all right, fuck it. And I went on eBay and bought a Prima player's guide for Final Fantasy Tactics. Not that expensive. There were some that were going for a lot more, but I like Googled manual, and this one was like listed as a manual, even though it's the player's guide. And with tax and shipping, it was like $21.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad at all. So I've got that coming in the mail. So I'll be sure to like look up all the best battle tips.
Yeah, how funny! I have a Prima guide that's worth like $150, but
I'm a big fan of players' guides. Yeah, and I really miss them. So I'm looking forward to
Misadventures of Trombone. That's
that's
an expensive Prima guide, but it's like worth it because the visual step by step of how to get through some of these like grid puzzle setups.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's
hard to find that kind of nuanced guide online these days. So it's nice to just flip through. And then other than that, I on my Switch, an actual Switch game that I've been playing, for some reason I picked up Part-Time UFO, which is a super fucking cute game about like just a misanthrope UFO who is just trying to get some work. And goes around, he's got a little claw and picks up things and puts them on things, and it's kind of this like 2D physics simulator by the creators of Kirby, and it's super cute and super fun, and it's like I just wanted a game that I could pick up and play for just little bits of time. And Part-Time UFO is great. I think it's like it started as a mobile game and came out on Switch. I think it's like $5 more on Switch than it is on mobile, which is bullshit, but whatever. It's still only like $8. It's really worth it. I really recommend that game if you like cutesy shit and stuff without a major story and just want to have some fun with a game. So yeah, I really recommend that. Vanessa, what have you been playing?
What's that Doom Eternal.
Oh,
because
nice.
I get it for free at my job.
Yeah, I was about to say, you said you didn't play many Western games, and then you
did. But honestly, I'm kind of burnt out with like games sometimes because I just work in games all the time, so it's like, okay, well, I have like the PC version of it and I'll like dabble in it. It's nice. You know, when you mentioned like Animal Crossing earlier, it just sort of reminds me of at the beginning of COVID. Do you remember? Like, it was like everyone was trying to get a Switch, Animal Crossing, and like toilet paper.
Yeah.
The essentials.
And I was one, and I was one of those folks that was trying to get like, Animal Crossing and the Switch, and it was like, who was it? Target canceled the order, and then like GameStop canceled. Like, I was like, I tried. I wanted to like join my animal friends and like, sell turnips or whatever. Like, I wanted to do the whole thing. But if you remember like the memes at the time, it was like Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing because they came out on the same day. And I was like, okay, there's two types of people in the world. And I tried to be Animal Crossing. And then when I got this job, I didn't know I was going to be working on Doom Eternal.
Right.
So it was like, oh, okay, I guess it's my my pandemic is going to be the Doom Eternal pandemic, not really the Animal Crossing pandemic. So that's just kind of been the flavor of my gaming lately, just the Bethesda stuff, but I like, but I really like the old campy stuff for like Duke Nukem and like Doom Eternal and things like that. So it's been easy for me to just pick up and be like, this is what it is, like over the top.
Yeah, that's where there's a lot of really solid games coming out of like that section of Bethesda. I think, you know what I mean. Like the Doom games have been like fucking on point. I think with this newest rendition of them. Oh yeah.
Cool. That is our episode then. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you for coming on to the show. Thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, I am PDYX.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Vanessa? Where can people find you online?
I'm Vanasty on Twitter. Vanasty.
Exactly how you would think it would be spelled.
Exactly.
If you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We are at Switch Headz on Twitter. And of course, you can visit our website at www.switchheadz.com. And then we've got our Facebook group and our Discord community that you can also join. Links to both of those will be in the description of this video or this podcast, wherever you're listening or watching right now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode on Pokemon. Vanessa, that was such a delight to talk to you about this. It was so fantastic to have you on. We'll be back next week with an all brand new episode. Still working out exactly what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be fucking fire. So make sure you don't miss it next week.
It's about the Sony State of Play.
That's right. We're going back. We're talking about the 5 different Final Fantasy VII remakes that are coming out. God damn it. We're not done talking about it. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe out there. Join Matt's Slack channel so you can get vaccinated. Continue to wash your hands. Continue to wear a mask. But other than that, we love you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.